Hello, everyone. First of all, we apologize. Uh, we suddenly, see Meta network error, so due to which it was 10 minutes delayed, and we again apologize for that. However, we are just on air, and we have sent a link on your WhatsApp group. Please click on the link for joining. Everyone is joining suddenly. We will just start in 5 minutes. Let's people start joining the link. I request again everyone to join as soon as possible. So we will formally start the session. Within, within 2 minutes, we will start the session formally. Thank you for your patience and joining us. Okay, everyone, welcome to the first webinar of CIC. We are pleased to welcome you on live webinar from CIC. The topic is Fundamentals of Internal Auditing ISO 19011 Guidelines. We hope today our trainer will give you as much as information as possible during the time slot. Please note, we are already using high quality equipment for voice quality. However, we still recommend you to use hands-free for better reach. An assessment will be taken in the end of this webinar. Kindly listen the whole webinar carefully since 100% marks are required to get the free certificate of CIC. Now handing over to our today's trainer, and we wish you happy learning.
मुझे सुनने की जरूरत ही नहीं है फिर। Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everyone, according to the time zones you are
present at the moment. Uh, Thank you so much, CIC team, for inviting me for this training session and giving me this golden opportunity to speak on this very important topic, that is fundamentals of internal auditing. So let me start with my brief introduction. This is Shahryar Ahmed, and by qualification, I am Masters in Food Science and Technology from University of Karachi. I am certified and trained auditor for different quality and food safety standards, including ISO 9001, ISO 22000, BRC, IFS, Halal, FISMA, GMP, and along with these standards, I'm also qualified auditor for different second-party standards, which includes Unilever, Kraft Food, Metro, Nestle. Currently, I'm working in SGS Pakistan and working here as a lead audit and trainer. Talking about number of audits, I have performed more than 1,000 audits so far in different organizations, again different standards. So this is my brief introduction. This is very important to set the training objectives because we are already late and we are running short of time. And I have been asked to complete this presentation in 30 minutes. So what we can do in this training session. So uh, clear the course objective first, and then we will move on one by one, all the objectives, cover all the objectives. We have these objectives which we have to cover in this 30 minutes. We will start with what is audit, then we will study different basic definitions which are being used in auditing language. Then we will study how many types of audits are there. Then we will take some understanding about audit planning and checklist. Then this fifth point is very important, but we are not going to cover execution because this has to be clear that normally we conduct a session for internal audit for a day or two. It's a complete or lengthy or very like descriptive topic to cover, but in 30 minutes we are not going to cover all the topics in detail. So execution part, which is very important in internal audit, I'll just briefly go through the execution part, but try to cover all other parts in detail. The sixth point is about the competency of auditor. What competency is required in order to conduct an internal audit? Then the next point is type of non-conformities, which is again very important skills to understand for the internal auditor, to how to write the non-conformities. Uh, then the next objective is to write the audit findings. And then there are certain learning activities, there are certain case studies which we will study and which we will see, and then try to find out the deviations and findings and try to write the non-conformities as well. So these are the course objectives. So quickly move on to our first objective. The first objective is the definition of audit. It is very important to understand that what is audit. In start, I have said that this is very important topic to cover because either you are working in any industry, either it is textile industry, pharma industry, food industry, any engineering firm, any servicing sector, you have to go through these audits. There are a number of different standards like ISO 9001, ISO 22, food safety standards, quality standards, environmental related standards, occupational health and safety related standards. And in every standard, you will find a requirement for conducting an internal audit. So if you are working in any organization, you have to be a part of internal audit as an auditor or as an auditee. So you have to have proper concept, proper understanding of these like this audit terminologies. Audit is what? Audit is a systematic, independent, and documented process for obtaining objective evidence and evaluating it objectively to determine the extent to which audit criteria is fulfilled. There are certain key terms which we need to understand before we move on. First one is systematic. Audit is a systematic process. Systematic means organized process. It has to be organized. It has to be followed by some methodology and some technique. And in audits, we normally adopt PDCA approach. We properly plan the audits, then we conduct the audit, then we check the findings, and then we have to take some corrective actions. So PDCA is an approach. I'm not going through the details of PDCA, but in short, we need to understand that audit is an organized process, is a systematic process. Independent means that you have to be independent. There is no partiality involved in audits. Documented process, it is not hypothetical, it is not verbal process, but you have to document each and everything when you are going to conduct an audit. Objective evidence, this is very important. There are two types of information. One is subjective, another one is objective. In audit, you have to provide objective evidences. You have to provide proofs. Again, hypothetical, verbal, wish-based findings are not encouraged in audits. You have to provide proper evidences, proper proofs, which can be verified later on. And then the other key term is extent to which the audit criteria is fulfilled. Audit criteria means standard. Standard means requirements. Audit is always done against some standard. If there is no standard, it means it is not an audit. It could be an inspection, it could be some other thing, but it could not be an audit. So audit is always done against any standard. And again, I repeat that there are number of different standards. If like you are working in a textile industry, you have to face different occupational health and safety related standards, quality related standards, second party standards. So standard is actually linked with audit. So I repeat, a systematic, independent, and documented process for obtaining objective evidence and evaluating it objectively to determine the extent to which audit criteria is fulfilled. And again, this term is very, very important. This language is very important. Here it is written that extent to which audit criteria is fulfilled. It could be written like this: the extent to which audit criteria is not fulfilled. It is written like is fulfilled, because audit is a positive approach. Audit is not a fault finding mission. Audit is not a policing activity. We have to conduct audit with very positive approach. We see the things in a company, the compliance of the company. Yes, ultimately it means when we see the compliance, we have to raise some non-compliances. But again, auditor has to be positive. So this is the simple definition of audit. There are certain key terms, and we have to understand this. Audit criteria, we have already discussed that audit criteria means set of policies, procedures, and in simple words, standard. And standard means set of requirements against which we are going to perform the audit. Audit findings means there are two types of things, positive and negative. Whenever we conduct some audit, there should be two types of outcomes, two types of outputs. One is positive. Positive means compliance. Another one is, you can say, negative. Negative means non-compliances. So these two things comes under audit findings. The third one is audit conclusion. Audit conclusion means, okay, on the basis of those findings, auditor will decide where the company stands. Either it is passed in a layman language, or it is not recommended for certification, and they have to go for follow-up audits. So audit conclusion means at the end of the audit, auditor will decide what is the status of that company. Auditee, this is another term which needs to be understood, that auditee is a person or an organization that is being audited. Auditor means a person who is conducting audit. Again, audit team. It is possible that there is a big company and they require more auditors, so they have to involve different like auditors. And in audit team, there are different responsibilities of the team members. One is lead auditor, other one might be the supporting auditor, the third one may be the observer who is just observing. He's the silent he present in the audit as a silent member. Then other one is a trainee auditor who is just in a audit for a training purpose. And other one is translator. So these are number of part members who can be a part of audit team, but the main is lead auditor or support auditor. Audit plan is actually specifies how you intend to conduct a particular audit. It describes the activities you intend to carry out in order to achieve your audit objectives. Audit plan actually enables the scheduling. What is audit scope? Audit scope is actually the boundaries of the audit. It is very important for the auditor to confirm the scope of a company, scope of the audit. For example, if a company is a multinational firm and they are involved in different product and processes, so it is and they have more than two, three, four, more than one addresses and sites in a same city. So it is very important for an auditor to confirm, okay, where I have to go for the audit, what they manufacture, what they are involved in processing, what are the types of products they are manufacturing. So these things are very important to confirm before going to an audit. Otherwise, it might be possible that you go to that site which is not in the audit scope, and it is just a wastage of time. So audit scope means the boundaries of the audit, and boundaries of the audit includes name of a company, address of a company, processing activity, and products. So four things are included in the audit scope. And whenever, I said that I have been involved in auditing for last 10 years. So again, tomorrow I am going for another audit. So it is like my practice to see the audit scope and all these four things. What is the company name? Where is the address? What is the processing activity? And product types. Competence. Normally people think that someone is masters or PhD or graduate in some field, uh, he or she will be considered as competence. But the true definition of competence is, competence means capability to perform any task. Like if a truck driver and a pilot, if we compare who is competent, so the answer is not that pilot is competent, truck driver is not competent. Both are competent according to their field of work. Truck driver is competent to drive a truck, and pilot is competent to drive a aeroplane. So competence simply means to a capability to perform any task. These definitions are important because these definition will help us to understand the later slides in our presentation. Our next and third objective is to understand the types of audit. There are three types of audit. Normally, first party and third party is very easy to understand. First party audit means internal audit. Internal audit means organization which conducts audits by the staff, by the internal staff. Third party audit means the audit which is conducted by the independent body, international accredited certification body, and they conduct the audit against some international standards. Second party standard is somehow it's confusing. Second party stand means a company conducts audits of its suppliers. For example, I am a buyer of any product. I am a company and I am buying something from my supplier. And if I conduct if I conduct audit of that supplier, it will be considered as second party audit. So this is simple as that. Now, this is very important activity. Two things which you need to focus and understand, that there are two documents which an auditor needs to be documented before going to an audit. There are two documents which auditor has to prepare before an audit. One is audit plan and other one is audit checklist. And both documents have their importance. Audit plan is important. Why? Because audit plan enable the scheduling, enable the information to the auditor and the auditee, that what would be the objective of the audit, what would be the scope of the audit, what are the dates, what are the addresses, what are the people who are involved in the audit, what is the expected time and duration of the audit. And again, there are certain things which we need the support from the auditee, that you have to arrange the logistics, You have to arrange certain occupational health and safety related things to the auditor. So these all things has to be planned before going to an audit, and this audit plan uh, has to be submitted to the auditee at least uh, like risk, it's risk based, but at least 2 or 3 days before the audit, because auditee has to prepare according to that audit plan. So, audit plan should cover the following: audit objective, audit scope, dates and place where the on-site audit activities are to be conducted, expected time and duration, contact key persons, logistic arrangements, matters related to confidentiality. It is again very important because there are companies who who are involved in very like secret recipes or any secret products and process. So they want auditors to maintain the confidentiality, and they want that that nothing should be leaked out to any third person for any purpose. So this is all considered in audit planning. Then uh, the fourth important objective is again, this is same, sorry, this is the next slide. This is just one example about the audit plan. So that this is the draft form of one audit plan, and it is not like important that all audit plan has to be like that, but just for your awareness, for your understanding, I give one draft form. uh, like you have to prepare audit plan like this. Take a look, and then I will start. So if you can see, that date is there, audit date, auditor name, audit scope. Then on first column and second column, you find that from when to when which department will be checked, and then which auditor will check, and who has to be present at that time. So last column, which is person, means auditee. And sorry, and you don't have to mention the name of a person. You just need to mention that designation of that person, that at least that designation or any designee, any appointee should present when auditor will reach to that department at that time. Okay, next important document which auditor has to prepare before the audit. One is audit plan, don't forget. Another one is audit checklist. This is audit checklist, and there are certain benefits and there are certain demerits of audit checklist. The benefit of audit checklist is that this audit checklist ensure that you complete the entire requirement of the standard. um, you cannot leave or you cannot skip anything when you have a checklist. But the demerit of checklist is that you uh, check the things according to the checkpoints. But normally the better way of doing audit is horizontal audit or vertical audits, which means you take the sample from the finished warehouse or from anywhere of the organization and go for a traceability of that thing. For example, like what I do in audits, I pick the sample from the finished product store, any finished product, and then go for the backward traceability, that when did this product packed, when did this product comes in the finished warehouse, what are the production plan, what raw materials are involved in the manufacturing of that product, then what are the quality and control points. Then when I go to the quality lab, I check the quality assurance and quality control testings of that specific product. Then I take number of interviews during the visit and verify like medical records and other their personal files, etc. When I go to the HR during audit, during site visit, I take samples of different measuring equipments. And when I call maintenance department, I ask for their preventive and breakdown maintenance. I ask for their calibration. So this type of audit is more effective. It conducts in less time and cover most of the things. But when we go according to a checklist, checklist will bound you to ask one question and the other question, and the other question may be entirely different. The benefit of checklist is that it is very beneficial for the newcomers. When you are new auditor, when you don't have a proper grip on the standard, the checklist is very beneficial for you. But when you have some experience, you have some grip on standard, then uh, you can do audit without checklist. It is better to go according to a sample, take sample, and then go for the traceability, either forward and backward. But like if you are going for like internal audit in your company after this training, and you don't have proper awareness and proper understanding of the standard, so my suggestion, my advice is to prepare the proper audit checklist. Sit a day before the audit and try to write each and every point which standard ask about the organization. And if you are going for HR department, try to pick all those requirements from the standard which talks about any certain requirements of HR department. For example, policy, for example, job descriptions, responsibilities on authorities, organogram, competency, trainings. So these all are different requirements in every standard, but you have to combine these clauses and make a checklist for HR department. Likewise, if you are going for audit in a maintenance department, again, you have to sit before a day or two and prepare proper checkpoints, so that all those points with standards expects and requires from that particular department according to that standard has to be covered in your internal audit. Hope it is fine for you to understand. Then this the fifth point, fifth objective, execution of the audit. It is very detailed. It is very detailed topic to cover. And normally, as I said, that we conduct 1 day or 2 days session for internal auditing, and this section of internal auditing covers most of the time. So I just reading the title of the content, and then I will skip, and then in some other time when we conduct a long session for internal audit, we will cover these topics in detail. In execution of audit, when we like plan, made the audit plan, when we have prepared the audit checklist, the second step is do, conduct the audit, execution of the audit. And when we execute the audit, these points has to be considered. We have to start our audit with opening meeting. Then there are certain things, certain points or information, collecting the information. There are certain sources of information actually. An auditor has to understand that from where they will get the information very quickly, that we will get then as an auditor. When I say we means auditor. Auditor will get the information through documents, through records, through observation, through interviews, through site visit. So these are the sources of information. There are no other fifth or sixth thing from where you get the information. So when we get the information, we have to verify that information. The third point is verifying the information. That verifying means either that information is aligning with, is matching with my standard or not. Sources of information already discussed. Audit technique, that is very important. Like from where you are going to conduct, start your audit. Then what is your questioning techniques? ठीक है ना? Audit technique includes your questioning techniques, how you take up the audit, from where you are going to start the audit. Interview questions means this is again another skill of an auditor. You have to ask open-ended questions. Like your question should be short and you expect the answer of auditee to be long. If you ask question in 3 and 4 lines, an auditee just reply you in yes or no, it means you are not conducting a good audit. Your questions should be short and you expect answers to be long, because when auditee speak, you will get certain information through their answers. While interviewing, you will get different type of information, and that information means findings. In auditing language, it means findings. So the sixth point is generating audit findings, and findings are of two types: positive and negative. Positive means compliance, and negative means non-conformance. So the other point is non-conformance. We never say that this is a negative point of your company. We say this is a non-conformance of your company. It's a ethical term to say in audits. Non-conformance means non-compliance of the requirement of the standard. We conduct audit on the basis of standard requirement, company own established management system requirement, and legal requirement. So non-conformance means non-compliance, non-fulfillment of any requirement of the standard, non-fulfillment of any requirement of statutory and regulatory requirements, and non-fulfillment of any own established management system requirement of a company. When we find any non-conformance, we divide into some categories, and we will see the description of those categories in our later slides. Then corrective and preventive action. These are two things which auditor see during audit, because in every non-conformance, auditor expect proper corrective and preventive action. And then the next point is preparing the audit report. Auditor has to prepare the audit report, and then they have to close the meeting. They have to close the audit with closing meeting. So these are the points which start from opening meeting and end at closing meeting, includes in execution of the audit. And once again, I repeat that these are very detailed topics to cover. And in some other training, in some other like when we go for face-to-face training someday, we will study and understand all these points in detail. Competency of auditor, already discussed in our earlier slide, that competency means capability to perform the task. When we talk about specific competency of auditor, so these three things are required for the competent auditor. One is auditing knowledge, other one is process knowledge, and third one is standard knowledge. So if you want to be a good auditor, first of all, you have to have proper standard knowledge, and for that purpose, there are different types of trainings which conducts by different companies, and you can find the link of those companies through different platforms. CIC is one of them. They conduct different type of trainings every now and then. Again, I expect all of you to please subscribe this channel so that you get all these type of information about the standards. Okay. So auditing knowledge, process knowledge, and standard knowledge. These are the 3 points which every auditor have to have, because if they have to conduct an audit, they have these three competences. Okay. Process knowledge means what? Process knowledge means if you are going to conduct an audit in maintenance department, and you don't know anything about breakdown, you don't know anything about preventive maintenance, you don't know anything about calibration of equipments, and if you don't know what type of equipment they use for processing, so you can never conduct a proper audit. So an auditor should have some basic knowledge of the process, some basic knowledge of the standard, and auditing knowledge. So auditing knowledge is what? Process knowledge is okay. We understand process knowledge, we understand standard knowledge. The third point, which is auditing knowledge, is equally important, because auditing is a skill. It's not like you go to any department and start random questioning. Auditing knowledge is a skill, and ISO has established a proper guideline for auditing. And in this training, what we are covering that standard ISO 19011, which is auditing guideline, and it's a complete standard, complete guideline, have different principles. And if we have a grip of auditing guideline, it means that we also cover that part of competence of auditor. So I repeat once again, for your like recall, auditor requires three knowledge. One is process knowledge, standard knowledge, auditing knowledge. And if you lack any one of them, it means you are not competent to conduct an audit. Okay, after competence of an auditor, then the seventh main objective out of 10, I guess, is about types of non-conformities. Non-conformities, I have already discussed that non-conformity means non-compliance of any requirement of the standard. When we raise any non-compliance as an auditor, then we have to rate, we have to categorize the intensity of that funding based on different things. And when we decide that this is high risk, this is low risk, or this has no risk, then we give the title of that non-conformity as major, minor, and observation. This is as per ISO 19011. Major means full absence of any requirement of the standard. Full absence means uh, basically there are three things which auditor normally seek during audit: a document, a record, and implementation. I repeat, auditor check, verify the compliance of any requirement of the standard through three things: through document, through record, or through implementation. If all three things are missing, like for example, if a company does not have the policy, if a company does not have the commitment of management to assure the quality, and there is no record of management review, there is no record of internal audit, there is no record of reviewing policy, so it means that company is lacking, company is not complying with all three requirements: a document, a record, and implementation. So auditor can raise a major non-conformity. Minor means partial breakdown of any requirement of the standard. Partial means if you find a document but record is missing. If you find a document, you find a record, but you find some gap in implementation. Similarly, if you find compliance in implementation, you find compliance in document, but there is some lack in record keeping. So in that case, you can raise minor non-conformity. So these are two major division of non-conformities. The third part is general observation, and general observation means that on the basis of uh, non-sufficient evidence, like if you don't have any sufficient evidence to prove that it is a concrete finding, it is concrete non-conformity. In that case, you can raise an observation. Uh, on the basis of your experience, you may suggest some improvement points to the company. Improvement point means for example, if you see that there is like new technology comes in a laboratory or in any laboratory testing, so you can suggest that this equipment should be purchased so that this testing can be performed in a quick time, in a fast time. So this is suggestion. This is not a non-conformity. Company is already performing that task either in a long time, but you can suggest, and in suggestion you have to raise that suggestion as an general observation. It is not a major non-conformity. It is not a minor non-conformity. It is the third category of the finding. Okay. Now, how to write audit findings? This is the eighth objective, and this is again described in ISO 19011 standard, which is an auditing guideline. Because every slide of my presentation is extracted from the ISO 19011, and once you understand all these points of my presentation, it means you have some idea about ISO 19011. So the eighth point is how to write audit findings. When you write audit finding, these points has to be considered. Number one, these 5 points actually. Number one, date when you are raising this non-conformity. Location of non-conformity. Location means where you find, what is the department of the of this NC, where this NC is raised. Nature of NC. Nature of NC means categorization of NC. Our previous slide, we have discussed that either it is major or minor, or it's just an observation. Then finding or non-conformity without evidence, without proof, is worth zero. In auditing world, in auditing language, if you don't have the evidence with your non-conformity, it means that there is no worth for that finding. It worth zero in the language of audit. So you have to provide evidence of that non-conformity. And when you raise any non-conformity with proper evidence, you have to give the reference of clause number from the standard. Because if there is no requirement of the standard, you can not raise any non-conformity. Non-conformity will always be raised against the requirement of the standard. It is not like that you have a wish list that it has to be done, audit has to done that thing. No, if standard requires that thing, then you can raise the finding. If standard does not require that thing, you cannot raise the finding. So in good companies, auditee auditee normally and generally challenge the auditor that from where you are giving this non-conformity, where is the clause number, what is the requirement. So you have to be very prepared when you conduct audit in a good department like an internal audit, and if you become an external auditor in future, and you raise any non-conformity, so you have to be very prepared, well prepared, before you raise any non-conformity with clause number and what is exact requirement of the standard. So these five things when you has to be considered when you write a non-conformity. Okay, now there are three activities. It's all done almost. We have covered. Let's a quick recall. These are the objectives of the course. Uh, we understood that what is audit. Then we took the basic idea about the basic definitions which normally use in auditing. Then types of audit we covered. There are three types of audit: first party, second party, and third party. In first party means internal audit, third party means external audit, which conducts by any international organization, accredited organization, and conducts audit against some international standards. Then the fourth objective was audit planning and checklist, and in that part we covered that these two document has to be prepared by the auditor before going to an audit. So audit planning and audit checklist, and we understood the purpose of audit planning and checklist as well. Then execution, we covered just that. We just touched the title of and contents of execution, but we skipped that part because it's a very detailed part. But we covered that how to start the audit with an opening meeting, and we have to close the execution part with closing meeting, and there are certain things in between them. Then we took an idea about the competency of an auditor. There are three things required for the auditor. One is standard knowledge, other one is process knowledge, and the third one is auditing knowledge. And all 3 points are very important for the competency of any good auditor. Uh, After execution, what is the outcome, what is the output of that audit is to raise a finding, and finding is of two types: one is positive, another one is negative. So in types of non-conformities we have covered that there are three types of, basically there are two types of non-conformities, and the third one, which is observation, is entirely a different thing. There are two types of non-conformities: one is major, another one is minor. Major means total violation of the standard requirement, minor means partial breakdown of any requirement of the standard, and the third category is observation. On the basis of like your experience, auditor can raise any opportunity for improvement. And like if you do not have proper evidence, proper sufficient evidences to raise any non-conformity, so we include this thing in observation. Then we took an idea about how to write audit findings, and in audit findings we covered 5 points: date, location of NC, nature of NC, evidence of NC, and clause number against the NC identified. So this is the learning activity. There are three activities. If you can see that this is a case study, and I read for you. You are conducting audit in an organization. During document review, you find that quality policy was appropriately documented and controlled. When asked about the communication of the policy to the interested parties, company was unable to provide any evidence and record. So the point is that you are conducting an audit in any company, and you find that quality policy is documented, properly documented. The only problem is that it is not communicated to the interested parties. So if you go to the requirement of quality policy in any standard, for example, in ISO 9001, there is a clause 5.2 which talks about different things in 5.2. So only one thing is missing. One thing is what? Communication to the interested parties. So the question is, what will be the grade of the NC? So obviously it is a minor non-conformity because it's a partial breakdown of any requirement of the standard. It is not like that total quality policy is missing. Total company is unaware about what is quality policy. So it is a partial breakdown. And how will you write the NC? Uh, when you write the NC, there are there are three things which you can mention when you write the NC: the description of the non-conformity, evidence, and as we discussed in the previous slide, and the requirement of the standard. So you have to write in a simple language, because what you write will be read by some third person. So your writing should be like that, that it could be easily understood by any third person. So for example, in this case, what I will write, that quality policy and with proper control number, that XYZ control number is documented and signed by the CEO XYZ. However, it is not communicated to the interested parties, example, customers, suppliers, legal bodies. So in just two lines, I have defined the main problem of a non-conformity. Uh, Auditor says, trainer says that your finding statement should not be so lengthy, or it should not be so brief that it could not be understood by any third person. So it should be appropriately written, either in one, two, or three lines. It should not be like a story that you start with A to Z. Okay. Uh, Again, second example, and this is our second last slide. Learning activity number 2, and I repeat this case study for you. You are auditing an organization. During the review of a JD in employee files, you noted that competency criteria is well written and explained. However, the actual hired individual and competence required are different from the required criteria. So again, JD is there, things are there, but there are certain things are missing in a JD. So what will be the grade of the NC? Obviously, it's a minor non-conformity. You cannot raise major non-conformity. Major means company is failed, company is not recommended for certification, and for this minor lapse, you cannot fail the company. What will you write the NC? So this is your homework. Try to do that after this training session. Learning activity number 3. Again, I repeat this case study for you. You are auditing an organization in 2020 and found that company has a legal requirement for retaining the customer record for at least 10 years. However, organization has only 5 years record. Note, the organization established in 2013. Uh, Standard says that you have to define the proper retention, and clause 7.5 of ISO 9001. It says that you have the proper retention time for the records, and if company says that they have to retain the records for certain years, and after that year they will discard. But if you ask as an auditor, when you ask that please give me the record of 2 years or 3 years, which is under the prescribed policy and procedure of that company, and if they are unable to provide, it means it's a obvious non-conformity, but you will grade it as minor non-conformity. How will you write the NC? This is again your homework. So thank you so much, everyone, for your attention, for your support and cooperation. And sorry once again for the delay for the start of this training. I thank you so much for your presence once again. What I like request all of you, that there is a channel, there is my specific channel with the name of QA Learning Hub. I say QA Learning Hub, and you will find hundred of videos about quality and food safety topics. So I will request all of you to please subscribe the channel if you want to learn more about standards and want to take my live session specifically. I expect all of you to please subscribe that channel. I thank you once again to CIC team for inviting me for their first webinar, and I hope this webinar will be fruitful, has been fruitful for you in future to carry out your internal audits. If is there any question, you can ask, and you can write an email to CIC info@cicdigital.com, and I will try my level best to answer all your queries in appropriate time period. Thank you so much once again. Over to CIC team.
Hello and welcome once again. I personally thank to the trainer who has separated the time from his busy schedule for the wonderful audience. Now the time is for assessment. There is a link we shared in the group WhatsApp group where all the participants are there. Please click on the link below. Carefully read the questions. There are only 10 questions, which is only true and false. You will get 15 minutes to solve the question. In the end of the assessment, don't forget to give your feedback. Once you completed your test assessment, please comment on the comment section that we are done so we may end this webinar properly. There are few comments that the link is not working. However, we just checked the link again. It's properly working. Please choose another browser of your mobile device. The link is working properly. One of our teammate also shared the link of test in the comment section. Please check there and attend the question. We check the link twice and it's working properly. Might be guys who are accessing the link from their laptops, they are copy pasting the hand icon as well. Please remove the hand icon while pasting in the web browser and then click enter. It will easily take you to the assessment section. Once you complete the assessment, give your feedback in email address properly. Now we are closing from the online webinar. Please try to submit the questions within 15 minutes. Your results and certificates for top 100 marks will be delivered by tomorrow. Thank you.